In the news this week, a consultation on a conscience clause is launched in Northern Ireland. The Christian Institute responds to new guidance on controversial English school standards, and a survey sheds light on local councils' Christmas cards. Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. A consultation on introducing a conscience clause in Northern Ireland has been launched, following legal action against a Christian-run bakery. DUP MLA Paul Given is calling for a change in equality legislation in light of court proceedings against Asher's Baking Company, who refused to make a pro-gay marriage campaign cake. Lawyers acting for Asher's deny that they have breached any laws, but a conscience clause would help to prevent similar cases being brought in the future. Speaking in Stormont, Given explained the reasons behind his plans.
The nature of faith is that it deals with higher loyalties to God, and faced with this demand by the state, most people would live according to their faith and be forced out of business, losing their livelihoods. Is that the type of society that is truly pluralist? Is that the type of society that is tolerant, that you would have to face that dilemma for people of faith and they would have to make that choice?
At the end of his speech, Given described the kind of society he wanted to see.
And I believe that together we can find a better way of dealing with these areas of tension and the clashing rights that exists, so that we can create a society that is inclusive, making reasonable accommodation for people of faith.
Sinn Féin has said it will oppose any attempts to bring in a conscience clause, saying it undermines equality. But the Christian Institute's director, Colin Hart, said he is pleased the vital issue is being examined. We have long called for the law to allow for reasonable accommodation of people's strongly held religious beliefs, and this consultation is an important first step in the discussion. For our part, we think the focus of the protection should be on family-run businesses. As we gear up for a general election, I would urge all political parties across the UK to bring forward similar protections. The Christian Institute has broadly welcomed new guidance on school standards, which include important safeguards on the issue of so-called British values. Following the threat of Institute legal action and a letter-writing campaign by supporters, the government accepted some key arguments. Simon Calvert, Deputy Director for the Christian Institute, is with me now. Simon, what does this new guidance mean for Christians?
Well, these guidelines are issued to every school in England, and they make clear that the Department for Education rules require schools to promote respect for people as opposed to respect for their beliefs, which is a very important distinction. But it's also clear that Ofsted, which is the body responsible for enforcing the rules, is not following the guidance in many cases. We are actively seeking to bring a test case against Ofsted where it has acted outside its remit without proper regard for religious freedom.
Thank you, Simon. An atheist commentator has warned that same-sex marriage has been bad for freedom in every place it has been introduced. Brendan O'Neill, who was writing on the Spectator magazine website, has previously spoken out against gay marriage, saying that people feel pressurised to agree with the redefinition. In his latest article, he criticised proponents of gay marriage who seek to draw a link between freedom and the redefinition of marriage. He said, "Everywhere gay marriage has been introduced, it has battered freedom, not boosted it. Love and marriage might go together like horse and carriage, but freedom and gay marriage certainly do not." Large numbers of Muslim women are in polygamous relationships that deny them basic legal rights, a new report has revealed. The study, which interviewed 50 women, found that while 9 in 10 of them described themselves as married, only 1 in 10 of those were actually in marriages recognised under English law. One of the women said her situation had scared her into silence. "I'm not too sure where I stand and what my legal rights are. I'm scared if I ask questions what will happen, so I guess it's best to stay quiet." Baroness Cox, who has introduced a bill in the House of Lords to address these issues and wrote the report's foreword, said important issues had been uncovered. The implications for the women are very serious, and it violates the fundamental principles of our country that bigamy is illegal and yet polygamy is condoned and allowed to flourish. She added, "Anyone who is concerned about women's rights and our freedoms in this country should be deeply concerned by the predicament of these women." And finally, many of the UK's local councils are abandoning the true meaning of Christmas in their official cards, research has revealed. According to a Christian Institute survey, little more than half of councils now send cards or other greetings which specifically mention Christmas. Speaking on BBC Radio Ulster's Talkback show, Simon Calvert challenged one secular interpretation of the council messages.
Terry's just described these Christmas cards as Christian propaganda, state-funded Christian propaganda.
I know. I think that you only have to say that really to recognise that that's not quite a fair portrayal of what's going on here. You know, when we talk about diversity implies that there are a range of views, but what some people appear to want is one view, and that's the secular view. You know, we talk about inappropriate cards and being insensitive to people. Well, if you wipe out Christ from Christmas, aren't you being insensitive to the millions and millions of people who do celebrate Christmas?
But there are some councils which do explicitly talk about Jesus. In Northern Ireland, Banbridge Council's card reads, "As we celebrate the birth of Christ, may God's love be with you this Christmas season and evermore." And North Down Borough Council uses a card designed by a schoolgirl which reads, "Jesus loves us." Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.